Once upon a time, in a small quiet village, there lived a priest. He was not a very busy priest, you see. In fact, he was quite lazy. He spent most of his days dozing under a large banyan tree, dreaming wonderful dreams. He did not like to work hard at all. His biggest dream was to become a very rich man, but he wished for it to happen like magic, without any effort. He would look at the wealthy merchants passing by and sigh, "Oh, if only I could have so much money, I would have the biggest house and the softest bed." He truly believed that one day good fortune would simply knock on his door. The priest lived on the kindness of the villagers. Every day he would take his begging bowl and go from house to house. The kind people of the village would give him rice, lentils, and sometimes a few vegetables. This was how he got his food. He never had to cook much or work in a field. Life was simple, but the priest always wanted more. He was content with what he received, but his heart was always filled with daydreams of a grander life, a life where he would be the one giving alms, not receiving them. He thought this life of begging was just a temporary phase before his great luck arrived. One sunny afternoon, a kind and generous woman saw the priest looking tired and gave him something special. It was not just rice or dal, it was a big earthen pot filled to the very brim with fresh, creamy milk. The priest's eyes opened wide with happiness. He had not received such a wonderful gift in a long time. He held the pot carefully in his hands as if it were a pot of gold. "Oh, thank you, he said to the woman. He was so delighted that he almost danced his way back to his small hut, his mind already buzzing with excitement over this unexpected treasure. Back in his humble hut, he placed the pot of milk carefully on a small stool next to his bed. He couldn't stop looking at it. The pot of milk was more than just food to him. It was a sign, a promise of the good fortune he had always been waiting for. He lay down on his bed, his head full of thoughts, his eyes fixed on the precious pot. He decided he wouldn't drink the milk just yet. No, this pot was too special for that. It was the beginning of something big. He could feel it. A small smile appeared on his face as the first of many ideas began to sprout in his mind. As the priest lay on his bed, staring at the pot, a brilliant plan started to form in his imaginative mind. "I will not drink this milk," he whispered to himself. "Instead, I will let it sit and turn into thick, wonderful curd." He could almost taste the sour, lovely curd already. But he would not eat that either. No, he thought, his excitement growing. "I will take this curd and churn it. I will churn and churn until I have a big golden ball of fresh butter." The thought of the rich butter made his stomach rumble, but he controlled his urge. This was all part of a much bigger, better plan. His dream continued to grow with each passing moment. "Once I have the butter," he schemed, "I will heat it gently over a fire until it becomes pure golden ghee. Ghee sells for a very good price in the market." He imagined himself walking to the village market, not with a begging bowl, but with a pot of valuable ghee. The merchants would be impressed. They would all want to buy from him. He would sell the ghee for a handful of shiny silver coins. Oh, how wonderful it would feel to have his own money, money that he had earned from his clever idea. With the silver coins from selling the ghee, his plan would move to the next exciting step. "I will not spend the money on sweets or clothes," he decided firmly. "I will buy a few healthy hens." He pictured a small coop in his backyard filled with clucking hens. These hens would lay eggs every single day, lots and lots of eggs. He would sell the eggs in the market and make even more money. Soon his few hens would have many little chicks, and his small flock would grow into a big poultry farm. He would become the most successful poultry farmer in the entire region. From the poultry farm, his dreams leaped even further. The money from selling thousands of eggs and chickens would be enough for a much bigger investment. "I will sell all the chickens and buy a few fine cows and buffaloes," he dreamed. He saw himself as the owner of a large dairy farm, with healthy animals grazing in green fields. He would have so much milk, much more than the single pot he had now. He would sell the milk, curd and butter to the entire village, and even to the towns nearby. He would be a rich and respected man, all from one pot of milk. The priest was now so lost in his wonderful dream that he felt he was already a wealthy man. The money from his dairy farm would be enormous, a treasure chest overflowing with gold coins. With all that gold, he thought, his heart beating fast, "I will buy the biggest, most beautiful fields in the land. I will hire many workers to plant crops. I will become a great landlord. He imagined himself walking through his vast fields of waving golden wheat, with everyone in the village bowing to him respectfully. He would no longer be the lazy priest, he would be the powerful master of the land. His ambition did not stop at being a landlord. Why stop at fields? I will become a merchant, he declared in his mind. I will trade in precious jewels and rare spices. My caravans will travel to faraway lands and my ships will sail across the 7 seas. He saw himself dressed in fine silks, negotiating deals with other rich merchants. He would build a grand mansion, a palace with 100 rooms and beautiful gardens. Servants would rush to obey his every command. He would eat from silver plates and drink from golden goblets. His life would be one of ultimate luxury and power. In his dream, he was now the richest man in the kingdom. Naturally, he thought, a man of his stature must have a beautiful wife. I will marry the daughter of the wealthiest merchant in the city, he decided. She will be as beautiful as the moon, and she will bring with her an enormous dowry. He pictured his grand wedding, a celebration that the entire kingdom would talk about for years. He saw his beautiful wife, adorned in gold and jewels, living with him in his magnificent palace. They would be the most admired couple in the land, a symbol of wealth and happiness. As his dream life unfolded, he imagined having a son. He saw a little boy, his heir, running around the palace gardens. I will love my son very much, he thought, but I must also be a strict father to make him a good man. In his daydream, he saw his son causing some mischief, refusing to listen to him. He is being so naughty, the priest thought, feeling a wave of annoyance. I must teach him a lesson right now. I must show him who is in charge. His imagination was now so vivid, so real, that he completely forgot where he was. Lost in his imaginary world, the priest felt the anger towards his naughty, non-existent son rise within him. How dare he disobey me, he muttered aloud, forgetting he was alone in his small hut. In his mind, he needed to discipline the boy. He decided a good scare would do the trick. He lifted his leg to give a stern kick in the direction of his imaginary son to frighten him into behaving, but of course there was no son there. Instead, his foot shot out and struck something hard right next to his bed. It was the earthen pot of milk. Crash! The sound of the breaking pot echoed loudly in the quiet hut, instantly pulling the priest out of his grand fantasy. He sat up with a jolt, his eyes wide with shock. The pot lay in pieces on the floor, and the precious white milk was spreading into a large puddle, soaking into the dusty ground. All his wonderful dreams, the curd, the butter, the ghee, the hens, the cows, the palace, the wife and the son, vanished in an instant. All that was left was a broken pot and a milky mess on the floor. He had destroyed the very foundation of his dream castle. The priest stared at the puddle of milk, his heart sinking with despair. He had been so close to being rich, so close to his wonderful new life, but it was all just in his head. In reality, he had nothing. He was still the same lazy priest in the same small hut. He had not even taken the first step of turning the milk into curd. He had spent all his time building a palace in the air, and with one foolish imaginary kick, he had brought it all crashing down. The silence of the hut felt heavy with his foolishness and loss. As he sat there amidst the broken pieces of his dream, a very important lesson dawned on him. He finally understood that dreams alone are not enough to bring success. You cannot become rich just by thinking about it. Fortune does not come to those who simply lie down and wait for it. He realized that to make dreams come true, one must work hard. Every big achievement starts with a small, real step. If he had actually made the curd, churned the butter and sold the ghee, he might have been on his way. Dreams need the strong hands of hard work to be built into reality.